Everybody, good morning and welcome to ETL, Main Stage. I'm Stephanie Selesnik. I live in Las Vegas. I internationalize trade shows and I'm a friend of the folks from ETL, so I'll be emceeing the stage the next couple of days. We're really excited with the stellar lineup and we're going to be kicking it off with how South by Southwest collaborates. How many of you ever been? How many of you have it on your list? See everybody's hands up, right? Yeah. And with that, if you want to, you can use these headsets. And if they turn yellow, if you get yellow, they're in Spanish simultaneous translation as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off and let Sureena introduce the session. Don't forget, you can ask questions during the session, or you can do them on the app, on the Poll Everywhere app.
All right, round of applause for Stephanie.
Awesome, thanks Stephanie, and thank you all for being here. We're very excited to be the first session for ETL 2024 in Las Vegas. Again, we're going to be talking about how South by collaborates to execute and put on a world-class event. The first thing we're going to do is do introductions. So the first slide.
You want me to do introductions?
No.
How about I'll introduce you, Sureena. Actually,
no, can you change the slide to the next section? I really want to just let you guys know what to expect.
Well, I think we want to... No, it's fine. I was just going to say who we are first.
Sure, okay, fine.
People, they probably read it in the app, or online, but no, let's talk a little bit. And we're really excited to have Justin here, Chief Technology Officer of South by Southwest. They just finished up their show 6 weeks ago, and now he's, come out of a bit of decompression and made his way to Vegas for us, so appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And Sureena has been in event technology for a long, long time as well. Most recently, your company changed, it got acquired by a company called Tripleseat Planner, which we're going to talk about as well.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that as well, so we're excited. And Jeff and I have been working together for a number of years. Jeff, I'm sure you recognize his face. He's been around for a long time.
You say that like it's a bad thing, but... Yeah. And I'm with Eventbase. We're going to talk a bit about that as well. But Sureena, why don't you walk us through what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so we've done a bit of introductions. And what we want to start off is kind of giving you an idea of what the South by event tech stack looks like, what they build in-house and how they manage that, and then who they partner with and why they have those partnerships. Then we're going to move on to what happens pre-event. So the time that their website, their South by Southwest marketing site is live, all the way up to once they arrive on site. Then we're going to move on to on-site experience, the mobile app, and then hopefully these two guys will share a little bit about what you can expect for the future of South by events and innovation. And again, as Stephanie mentioned, there is an app for questions, and we're hoping that we can have time to cover and answer some of your questions.
There's one question up there about, is yellow your favorite color, Sureena?
It is now. So
All right.
All right, so let's get going. So Justin, did you want to talk a little bit about South by?
Sure.
Just to give an overview.
So South by Southwest is in its 37th year, I think. We generally have about 6,000 discrete events over 10 days and about 200 venues, conference events with speakers and panels. For our interactive and film and music show, there's conferences. And then we've got films and bands. And I think we're right around 70-something thousand registered attendees, and about 250,000 people come to town for the show or participate in some way. We manage something like 3,000 panels, so that's a lot of speakers. And just generally speaking, the scale is large, the complexity is high, and the fun is at the top. And so our goal is at South by Southwest is to help creative people achieve their goals, which is something that makes me ready to get up and go to work every day. And I just delivered my 20th show, so there must be something about it that keeps me there.
20th show. So South by Southwest is difficult to explain because it's so massive, and so we got a video to explain it. So people who haven't been to South by Southwest don't know what it is. This is the teaser reel for last year's show. Here we go.
South by Southwest rocks.
Art and music and film. It's such a beacon of light.
Cultural. The multiple industries that kind of combine.
Combination of people and ideas.
This many people who can affect so much change, talking about so many different ideas.
A ton of talented people, great food, great music.
New talent, classic vintage talent, mixing those two together always leads to inspiration for both sides.
All of this amazing talent from my community, all different types of humans. It opens its arms to like originality.
A really creative and open-minded crowd.
The audiences at South by are the best.
Our audiences want to laugh and want to have a good time.
Town itself has got such an amazing energy to it.
You can tell from the energy of Austin, the power and the magic of filmmaking.
I love this town, and this is where my career started.
Huge guests, very intimate spaces. You will meet new people, but you have the same purpose in life.
Meet people and network and learn and have fun. And so that confluence just makes it a unique opportunity.
Every hour, there's like 20 different things that you potentially could go to. So the one bummer about South by Southwest is you can't hit everything.
So yeah, I can talk about it, but Keanu's a lot more credible, so.
All right, big round of applause for Justin for doing his 20th show at South by Southwest. Come on. 2-0, man, that's a lot of shows. So there's a million things you can talk about South by Southwest. You've always said some of the stats, but what is it that makes South by Southwest so special? Like, why do people go every year? What's the big deal?
It's the convergence of all the different kinds of people. So you've got film people, you've got music people, and then you've got the pro nerds and people who are interested in that stuff. And there's so much overlap now. You know, the film business is the tech business, the music business is the tech business. And so South by is the place to be if you want to be at the intersection of all these things and if you want to meet the most interesting people. And every year a bunch of people meet someone and it changes their lives. They start on some new project, or they showed up and they debuted their film, or, you know, Twitter shows up and launches their product. So it's the confluence of people, and it's the inspiration. People always talk about how they walk away from South by Southwest fired up to do whatever it is they're doing, and hopefully with some new insight to help them, and some new contacts and some new people, and great memories.
All right, we're going to talk a lot about South by Southwest in the tech today. I'm going to quickly introduce my company, Eventbase. If you've been to big events, you may have seen our mobile apps. We do apps for many of the biggest events in the world, including South by Southwest, CES, Sundance Film Festival, Dreamforce.
You've been doing ours for over 10 years.
We have, doing a lot of South by Southwest mobile apps. Yeah, we've got a ton of big customers. This is a feature we launched called Discover. It provides the perfect personalized first screen for every moment in your event. For every special moment, there's a different first screen. So it changes throughout the event. So, you know, the first morning, the first evening, it's very different throughout. So you want different things. You want it to feel different all throughout your event. So that's been a very popular feature called Discover. But I'm excited. We've won a lot of awards over the years, Justin, you and I.
We have.
2022, we won Best Event App at the Event Technology Awards. It's pretty awesome. We won it last year for a different app for Dreamforce, for Salesforce. I think we won it 7 times. So we like
me together 7 times.
We like
and Michael
awards.
Brown.
We like awards.
I feel left out right now.
Then they might be. Maybe you'll win an award tonight. There's an award show here. Anyway, that's Eventbase. Sureena, why don't you tell us a bit about what you do at
Yeah,
Triple Seat?
absolutely. So as Jeff mentioned, our company just recently changed names from attendees to Tripleseat Planner. And I'm Sureena, I'm one of the customer success managers at Tripleseat. Like Jeff mentioned, I've been in the event industry for many years, and I've been working with these 2 gentlemen over that time, and I've always been in the event tech space. And I'm really excited to be here. What's an introduction to Tripleseat Planner is that we are an event registration solution. Not only do we do events and meetings, but we also have a catering aspect to the solution. And our customers, I would say our customers really love us because we have a really configurable attendee experience when it comes to registration. We have a robust session slaughter agenda creation tool that South by leverages for their thousands and thousands of sessions and speakers that they manage, as well as we have an easy to use CMS, which is a really important part of the attendee experience. And our customers, as we have listed here, are or they love us because of all those aspects. And they not only use our platform for 100 events a year, but often it's 1,000 events a year. So they really leverage our platform to execute some amazing events. Shall we go on? You want to pass on? Yeah, perfect. So yeah, tech stack and partnerships.
This is the nerd stuff.
Yeah, this is the nerd stuff. Can you give us just an overview of just a nutshell of what happens? Like 2024 has come to an end, the technology they're going to implement, what those technologies are, and just share that with the audience.
Sure. So to begin with, we own and operate a bunch of our own software. And there's multiple reasons for that, but the main one is that when I first started working on this in 2004, there were not a lot of event tech options out there. And certainly nothing that was designed to handle the scale and complexity of South by Southwest. Eventbase, for instance, did the Vancouver Olympics. So we were like, well, right on, let's work with these guys. That's clearly, a huge and complicated event. So, but looking back, so we basically have built our own stuff, and over time, there's definitely carrying costs with, we have full-time year-round developers, and it's not cheap, but we do what we want, and our staff has gotten so used to that it can be a little annoying, but it allows us to create this sort of arc over the course of a season. So as Sureena mentioned, in June, the new website goes live with the new annual look and feel. We have a sort of fresh branding to our event every year. And then at that same time, we start taking submissions. Bands start to apply, filmmakers start to apply. We start taking ideas for panels through the panel picker. And all of that happens on our software. Film and music applications, there's a fee, so like $30 fee. And so that happens through our e-commerce platform, which is the same platform that we sell our badges and credentials. And then that all starts up, we start selling our credentials right around August 1st. And so if we're gonna make changes to the e-commerce system, and if we're gonna tune up the panel picker, we're having to do that either right after the event, or we're doing it, in the fall before our event for the next cycle. So then we start evaluating, and we have multiple ways of doing that. On panel picker, the public can vote, and then we internally grade stuff, and then we have an evaluator system where essentially we've got these advisory panels, and they have access to a tool where they can go through and they can rate stuff, and we sort of triangulate on those three things, plus what we know. Our programming people who put this thing together are extremely experienced, and so they use all that and they start programming the show. And so then you get an email from us saying, congratulations, you're gonna speak, or your band is playing, or whatever the case may be, and then you get a link to your own advancement portal, so that we can communicate to you about where your stuff is, get you to sign your releases and your agreements and all that stuff.
Justin?
Yeah.
We get slides on a lot of these different things to talk about it in depth when we talk about the panel picker and all these things. What's remarkable, I think, is that there's 2/3 of the things on this board you built yourself.
Yeah.
So why, I know you said that when you started 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The technology's come a long way since then. So, but you still keep innovating. I think innovation has been one of the things that is different from South by Southwest. Makes South by Southwest different than a lot of other events, especially big enterprise events and things like that. They're not usually willing to take risks, but I love that South by Southwest is willing to push the envelope and take risks. And not everything's going to work, but you do that. That's really impressive. But that's a lot of things to manage.
Yeah. Well, our audience demands it. If people show up to South by Southwest and if they just look at an app where they, use one of the tools and there's nothing cool about it, then, that's not what South by Southwest is about. We're supposed to be the coolest event. And so we have to continue to try and stay on the front of, delighting people when they show up.
Right.
Well, that's the thing, the expectations. You're trying to please your audience because your audience is your community, and they come back year over year. And if they're seeing something that doesn't meet their expectations, you're going to hear about it, right? And so your standards, with me working with you, has been extremely high because you're constantly thinking of what the attendee experience is going to be like. How is this going to impact the attendee? And I think that's why we've started working together in both our use cases.
Yeah, and not only are we going to hear about it, but all of their Twitter followers are going to hear about it. And so we have a lot of thought leaders showing up, and if we disappoint them, and just even when I say people, thought leaders, of course the speakers, but also just the registrants. The people, every single person who's at the event is like up to something cool, and people, so you want to make a good impression on that kind of an audience for sure.
I think it's 4,000 media shows up, so we've done things at South by Southwest where we end up on the front page of USA Today. Like, that doesn't happen at a lot of events. So anyway, some of the partners you work with, I appreciate that we're on the board.
Yeah.
You guys are number one with a bullet, baby.
Yeah, but how do you choose your technology partners? Like, there's so many companies out there that would love to work with you guys. Like, how do you go and narrow down your selection? And when do you go say, this is the time when we need to go find a partner versus continuing to manage this product in-house?
Yeah, usually we have some specific need. The mobile app's a great example. It was time to get a mobile app. We didn't have a mobile developer on staff, and we didn't really want to take that on because, you have to build the thing, but then, so you've got the responsibility of maintenance, but you've also got product responsibility, right? You have to move the thing forward. Whereas now Eventbase is moving their product forward, and we benefit from that. And we collaborate really closely with them about where their product is going, and we also deliver features through the app that are exclusive to South by Southwest that we're building on the back end. And so that was a perfect example of, we need to bring in an outside partner. We talked to a bunch of people. And Eventbase, they'd done the Olympics. They were in Vancouver, where I love to visit. And they're cool guys.
All right. Sureena, you want to walk us through the next topic?
Sure. Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. I wanted to highlight just a couple more of these. So the Austin Convention Center, we've been working with them for a really long time. And so when we go in there, we know everybody. They know us. They know what we're up to. And it's just a great relationship. Meeting Max is where I met Sureena, and they handle our hotel booking. It's a great service, and we have a deep integration with them as well. So, for instance, if you use a coupon code that we sent you, that might let them know that you're a speaker, and so you have access to a special block of rooms. And that's something, again, that it takes technical skill on our side, plus a willingness for Meeting Max to collaborate, and then, and their product, again, has benefited from, our demanding nature over the years.
Well, and I think in that, your use case, which is common when there's citywides happening, is that, as a registrant, you get one badge, you get one hotel room, if you're lucky, right? There's a shortage of hotel rooms in Austin. There's a scarcity, impact over the years, especially as your program grew year over year. So your team needed to hold on to every room. And, you have a housing team of 10 that have been doing housing for 20 years, some of them. So, this is a team that had back pocket rooms for just in case Kanye showed up, things like that. So, yeah, amazing.
Right, we are on a fifth slide. I think we got a lot of content to get through here. But
let's go.
Any more you want to highlight?
Well, so actually, Right Round helps us with our Wi-Fi. And I like to talk about the Wi-Fi because you don't think about it. And at South by Southwest, you especially don't think about it. You show up. If you were there last year, it just connects. As you walk from the convention center to the Hilton to the JW Marriott, your phone drops South by at that venue and picks it up at the next venue, and it just works. And so no one ever talks about it, but we put a ton of effort and money and planning, and we have expert help. And it's to me, it's part of our brand, even though it's invisible to people. If you're at South by Southwest and the internet's broke, as soon as it comes back on, you're going to Twitter about it, or X, or whatever the fuck people are doing now.
It is true, and there's a lot of events do not get their Wi-Fi right. It's painful. So yeah, you guys do a good job of that.
Yeah, when I was at Collision a while back, the whole thing crashed, and they were like, "Oh, well, the venue assured us that it would be great," and so I was like, "All right, way to take responsibility."
It's unlike you to throw Collision on the bus there, mate.
Well, they've done it to us.
All right, let's go.
Okay,
Go.
we're going.
Come on.
Okay,
All right, next one.
year-round event tech. This is a trip down memory lane for you,
Yeah.
Justin. We got this is your websites from, I think it's 2012, 2015, 2017. You guys are changing up a lot.
Yeah, again, people, they want like a cutting edge experience, even on the website. It's got to look like Web 7.0 or wherever we're at now.
And this year, 2024,
we launched a brand new website, and we put a ton of effort into a mobile-first design as well as accessibility. Accessibility is a big thing for us moving forward. We worked a lot with Jeff to increase that in the app, and it's a huge priority for us moving forward.
one of the things I'm excited about, and Michael Brown, who's VP of Innovation of South by, is in the back row here, but they managed to align the website navigation with the mobile app navigation, and that's impressive. The fact that you can get the same consistent user experience from when they're at home planning on their desktop to when they're at the event using their mobile phone. To have the same navigation is like made things a lot easier. I think we saw a lot of feedback from attendees.
For sure, and the filtering and the navigation is crucial when you have 6,000 events over 10 days with all these different categories. And so the filtering has finally gotten to a point where I feel I'm stoked about it. And so having that same experience when you're building your agenda at home and then you get on site and you pull out your mobile app, we have the numbers that show like how people use it. It's the same way I do. I build it at home and then on my machine, my laptop, and then pull out the app.
Next. Wrong way. Wrong way.
No, we're good. That was the rear round. This is pre-event now, so we're
right.
going to talk about technology that happens before you get on site. So there's
yeah, and we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
So panel pickers, where you come to let us know why you want to come.
This is my favorite product that I've used, and partially because I submitted a session through the panel picker. I think it was in 2018 maybe or 2017, and I thought the process of submitting a session and having it voted on and potentially presenting at South by would be the exciting part, which was, and I was very excited to have my session voted in. But what I didn't realize is when I logged into the panel picker and I started to vote for myself, for example, you could see all the filters, all the other speakers, the topics of what people were submitting, what you're going to see in a year from now. And you start voting, and you start making a note of who you voted for. And then I remember like downloading the South by Southwest Go app and checking to see who got voted in and seeing if I could actually attend that session. So you feel like that 1% of a part of curating the agenda as an attendee. So I really love that experience.
Yeah, so we're essentially trying to build community in June for an event that's going to happen in March.
and it creates buzz. Like people promote, hey, vote for my session, and people are talking about South by Southwest in the summertime well before the event. It's pretty cool. All right, moving on. This is your domain, Sureena.
Yeah, so session scheduling, again, with that many events, that many venues, I think the conference is in the convention center in every room, plus 8 hotels and all the meeting space in all of those hotels.
40. It's 40 venues.
Well,
just for a conference.
So yeah, it's a lot. And so, we had giant whiteboards full of sticky notes, I mean, this was a long time ago. But attendees had this great drag and drop interface for slotting. And sure, we could build that, but they had it and it worked really great. And so we reached out to them. And of course, they've got a soup to nuts turnkey solution that, as Sureena mentioned, is great, called Tripleseat now. But we used the slotter, and they were willing to let us use that aspect of it. They have an API, we have an API, we set it up for round trip. People go on and they slot their stuff, and that information comes back into our internal tools. And it's a lifesaver.
Exactly, and one of the things that's really important is that the schedule does change. Speakers do not attend or can't make it. The room changes. The layout changes. So they're able. The conference planning team. Again, it's like this year, 2024 was almost 2,000 sessions just for conference, not music, not comedy, not anything else. And that was 40 venues plus all the rooms in the venues. So every time something changes, we scale up of when we're going to push that information over to South by so it's accurate on all the tools that they're using.
Yeah, and we work with Eventbase obviously really closely to get that up-to-date information into the app. So we update it on a schedule, but we also have webhooks. So if something gets changed, you just reach out to Eventbase and to our schedule and make that change right away.
Speaking of your schedule, did some updates again this year.
Yep, and we've been building our own web schedule again from the beginning, and it's come a long way. I mean, it's always been usable, but it's really getting to the point now where I feel really stoked about it. The filtering's killer, and the idea is to make this completely overwhelming event manageable. So the issue with that, of course, is that people are overwhelmed and they're looking at their mobile app or they're looking at the thing and they're like, solve my feelings, and it's kind of impossible to do that. But we're definitely making every effort to do that.
And I love that a lot of these quick browse options are also in the mobile app, so you basically like a very similar, familiar experience for people transition between the two. So yeah, that's a big feat. That's just another one of the technologies that you guys have built yourself.
So how many people are event planners? Wow. And how many people are pro nerds? Okay, just trying to get a feel on it.
Tell us about Reg. You mentioned the hotel booking, which is streamlined as part of Reg. That's quite unique.
But why? I'm curious because there are a lot of event registration companies out there like Tripleseat Planner. Now 2024, why do you continue to use manage your e-commerce site versus looking at a partner? Because I know that once upon a time there wasn't a partner available for your scale of event. I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Well, we've built a ton of customization into our system, and it's things that our staff now rely on. So like the comp system that I talked about, where if we send you a code to either get a free badge because you're a speaker or a discounted badge for some reason, or because you're a sales client, when you register, we know who you are. So based on that code, so we're not trying to go, link you up on the back end in a Google Doc or whatever it is, because the scale just doesn't allow for that to happen. And there's many other, we have a really tight integration with our accounting department. One of the things that's kind of unique about South by is people do want to steal our credentials because, sure, it's a conference, it's a tech conference, but, Jay-Z is going to be there and you can go see his show. And so that creates a consumer demand that leads to people trying to knock off our stuff. And this has we've integrated tightly with our bank so that we have these fraud control tools which are necessary.
And tickets are over $2,000 for platinum badges.
Yeah, and they're
so
expensive.
It's expensive, but
well, that's the walk-up rate. Register early.
Yeah.
But I love that you
Registration opens August 1st.
you block off a lot of rooms, so you can't book a room until you buy your badge, and that's all. Meeting Max helps you with that. It's all sort of tied in there. So once you book, and if you're a speaker, like you said, you get room blocks set aside, and you set aside rooms just in case Princess Meghan Markle decides that she's going to show up on
or President
2 days
Obama
before your event, or
or Obama
With
stops
very
in for
little
tacos.
notice. Yeah.
But there's also what you guys do is unique is that once you're in, you register, you have your badge, you get permitted to go into your comp room block and book your hotel room at the JW Marriott. Before you complete the registration, the system checks again to make sure no one's shared a link, checked that, opened another browser. Like there's just so many checks along the way to ensure that nothing is being shared or duplicated, because we just cannot have rooms and badges being copied like that.
All right, we're going to move on to on-site event tech.
Woo,
This is when it gets real.
Yeah. You arrive at the ACC.
So at this stage, you planned your sessions. Honestly, there's so much to do at South by Southwest. I find it, you kind of have to go with a mind like water. You have to basically get there. Maybe there's a few things you want to do, but you'll end up doing a ton of other things that you didn't even think you were going to do, but you end up, that's the South by Southwest experience for you. But this on-site event tech, there's a lot that goes into this as well. You print your own badges, you do your own badge scanning and lead retrieval for exhibitors. So tell me a bit about that. That's a lot of tech to do yourself.
Yeah, and again, a lot of it has to do with just us being in control of the experience, because sure, we can use a reg company, but then our badges just have to look like that. And then again, they'll look like any other event that uses that same technology, and that's not what South by Southwest is about. And so we've got our branding, and we've got our own RFID chips on there, so that, you know, and we have a fleet of readers with an app that we developed, and we can secure our credentials that way. It was one of the first things that my boss asked me to do when I showed up at South by Southwest is, we're gonna roll out RFID and all our credentials, so figure out how to do that. And I was like, all right, that sounds good. And just for a little context there, that was in response to these guys who were in a local band called Front Butt, and they had they had their own printing equipment, and so they were knocking off wristbands. And, you know, there was like thousands of people like filling up the venues. And we finally figured out that, all of these wristbands have the same serial number. So we started working the lines and like pulling people. But yeah, the RFID works great. And if you act a fool at South by Southwest, we can turn off your badge. And with that many people, there's always somebody who really does something that's not cool.
But you also mentioned a story to me last night about the registration lines and having that kind of control. Can you maybe share that with the audience?
Sure. So, you know, people are showing up. Airplanes show up when they show up. So you can't really control when you get that crush. It's always Friday morning before that first opening keynote. And it was a challenge for, 6-8 years. We were having lines that were, over an hour long to get your badge. People, that gave them plenty of time to tweet about how much that sucked. So there was a year where there was weather, and so the airplanes were affected even more. And so people all showed up in this huge crush, and they just had a bad travel experience, and now they're in this like 90-minute line. And we were like, we need to fix this for next year. And one of the interesting things about that is, so we rebuilt the system that we use to look you up and print your badge. But we also, we work together with our registration department for the whole process. It's like, where's the badge coming out? Who hands it to the registrant? And through that kind of collaboration, because events, technology can help a lot, but an event can't be solved with technology. You need people, you need problem solving. I tell my people, somebody during the event's gonna show up with a problem, and they're going to want you to tech them some kind of solution. And sometimes you just hand them a poster board and a Sharpie and say, go fix it, And, the event planners here know what that's about. And so this was another example of, just people collaborating to fix the situation, and the tech being there to like help it and be faster, better performance.
It's quite unique that you changed the way you did badging a few years back, where platinum badges can pretty much get into anything. Music badges can also get into anything, but there's like a secondary access line. Same for film. If they want to go to a music thing, they can. So even if you have a film badge, you can pretty much experience everything. There's just a different priority access. So there's a fast track line for VIP for the platinum badge holders. But I think that's worked really well. That helps. People get to choose the right badge that makes the most sense for them, but that doesn't limit them to just one track.
For sure. And so the platinum badge, it does get you into everything, but you're in the same line. If you're going to a conference thing, an interactive badge and a platinum badge are the same. Sure. The only thing is you can stand in any of those lines with platinum. And then if you got a music badge, once that conference room is full, or every interactive badges come in and there's space, they start letting in people with the alternate credentials. So you really do get to, if you're flexible about what you're trying to do and you're not trying to see Meghan Markle, you can really see a lot of stuff.
All right, let's talk about the mobile app. So we mentioned a few times, this is again a trip down memory lane. This is the, Michael remembers these, because we worked on SXSW GO mobile app from 2012, back when we were called a different name, which I'm not going to talk about. But yeah, we built an app for BlackBerry and Windows Phone, Android and iOS. Android just come out. Like it was, when we launched our company, Android wasn't even a thing. We didn't build it for the Olympic Games initially, right? So that was a lot of apps to produce. And then 2013, so new look and feel. We added a ton of new features that year. 2012 20. I got down the bottom here. You will not be able to read that, but each one of those is an award that we've won with the South by Southwest mobile app, including a lot of event technology awards. We won a Webby Award. We won tons of things, but we won for best festival technology. We won for best conference technology. So you guys straddle both of those.
Yeah, we got a Tony once.
You got Tony, really?
No.
No. Now, one of the things we launched, this is 2017. I won't touch on this because it's a cautionary tale in a way, but we built a chatbot in 2017 that was super intelligent. It was incredible. It just
Abby.
Its name was Abby. I don't think it has a gender. It was super successful. When I talked about getting on the front page of USA Today, that was like everyone was talking about Abby the chatbot. It was super interesting because you could not just ask it questions and get text-based answers. You could get like images back and sessions and it was super intelligent. It was just
we were AI when AI wasn't cool.
Exactly. We were burning edge there, but it was expensive back then, and it took a long time to train. Like we had to go in and train it to see. Do you call it the trade show floor, or the expo hall, or the exhibition room? You have to go in and specifically train that. So anyway, I think chatbots are going to make a comeback with sort of newer, cheaper AI technologies that don't take as long to train. So that was the thing. But yeah, anyway, so look for that to come back.
But I will mention that it did help with finding when your session was sold out or wasn't available, it was able to provide those recommendations really quick when you only have an hour between to get to another session, and that was really great.
It's a great use case, like the concierge who's with you at every step of the moment you can just ask a question to. So I think it's going to make a comeback, but it is something that's 2024. We just finished. So how do you think the app did this year, Justin?
Great. We've got the iOS app has a 4.69 rating in the Apple Store, which is good for anything, but for an event app, it's out of sight. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's a good rating. It's definitely it's one of those things. Like if the Wi-Fi sucks, they blame the mobile app. So it doesn't suck. So you guys should take
Yeah, and our attendee feedback was also super positive, more positive than it's been.
So when we talk about the mobile app, a lot of the things that make it great are integrations that we've done together. So we're going to touch on that in quite a bit here. Yeah, I mentioned we launched Discover at South by last year. It was super popular again this year. Streamlined the navigation this year. That was important. So less items makes it less visually cluttered, makes it easier for people to find their way around. And Maps People was the new map provider we integrated there, and that's overlaying shuttle maps and doing some cool things with maps was impressive this year as well.
Yeah, wayfinding was a big priority for us this year, based on feedback from folks, and so we made a giant step forward in that regard.
Southwest Recommends is a tool that you've built yourself, a recommendation engine that helps people find sessions that they're interested in. Tell us a bit about what goes into the algorithm for Southwest Recommends.
Man, this is really the fun stuff. So when you show up and you start favoriting stuff or paying attention, and the core of our recommendation system is sort of a wisdom of the crowd type of idea where if I star an event and these two people star that event and they both star something that I haven't, when I say star, I mean favorite, that I haven't favorited, I'm likely to be interested. And so, and as that scales out, we start being able to develop pretty strong recommendations, because it's not about do you like genre blues, it's about people who have similar interests, and so it's a lot more powerful. And then we have to be careful for all these things, like we don't need to recommend Radiohead, right? So that's already going to be out of control. So we knock out like the top 20%, and we never recommend that. And if there's any other reason why we don't want to recommend something, we can just mark it in the back end and say, yeah, don't recommend this to people.
So it shows up in the mobile app, recommendations, and they're constantly changing. Everything they're doing in the mobile app feeds back into the recommendation, and it's really sophisticated, and you built it yourself, which is super impressive.
Yeah, and then we use an API to hook it up with you guys.
Exactly. All right, so this is another feature that's very Southwest unique. We've had so many customers asking for this, and you guys built out the back end, which makes it possible. Can you tell us a bit about green, yellow, red, said live session capacity, why this is different than anything else on the market.
Sure. So obviously, the feedback from people was, I want to know, especially the footprint we have. If you're going to walk from the JW Marriott to the Fairmont, that's like 5 blocks. And you want to know, that, can I get into the thing over there? And there's no perfect way to let you know. But what we figured out is this system, and this is another great example of like event problem solving and collaborating with, people in real space. So we have this back-end system and we can present all this stuff, but how do we decide what's red, And, everyone assumes, well, there's some kind of cool whiz-bang technology solution. Oh, are you guys counting RFID scans? How do you make this work? So there's people with walkie-talkies, and they say, hey, ballroom D, you need to make it red. And they mark something in the system, and then it shows up red. And it shows up fast because of the way we've set the system up. And so that's an example of like that Sharpie and a poster board. Sometimes you just need to use, the human element to figure something out.
So it appears in the mobile app. It appears on these big TVs all throughout the venues as well. What's interesting is it's not just about the number of people that are in that room at that time. So if Lizzo's given the keynote, and there's a lineup that you can tell there's like 5,000 people in line, and that is going to be full, you might mark that red because it's like, don't bother going there because you won't get in at this point, right? So, but and also you don't clear out the venues after every session necessarily, so you can't use session check-in scans. It just doesn't work. So a visual check is the most accurate and the most real-time. Session rooms can fill up and empty in minutes. So anything there's any lag, that it's kind of defeats the purpose.
I want to just real quick talk about recommendations again, because there's 2 aspects to it. How do we generate the recommendations, and then how do we deliver your recommendations to you? So the standard thing, obviously you can go to the web schedule, you can go to the app and look at a list of recommendations we have for you, and we weight them, and the best ones are at the top. But also we do stuff like ahead of the event, we email you and say, hey, we think you would be interested in this. And then in the morning of an event, every morning during the event, we check your schedule and see where you've got gaps and see if we have a recommendation for you for that gap, and we send you a push notification. And then also, my favorite is we have geofences over our event, and so if you walk up to something that's full, maybe we definitely know where you are, but we'll pick that up and we'll see, do we have a recommendation for this person that's nearby where they are? And if so, we'll send you a push notification. So, the ideal experience is you walk up to Stubbs and you're like, and I don't want to deal with that. And then you get a push notification that says, well, you might like this that's right over there at Valhalla. And people are like, oh, well, that's cool.
There's the push notifications, and you also have the nearby in the mobile app. So touch on nearby, and it's like tells you what's going on around you. Again, recommending sessions that have capacity, because you don't want to recommend a session that's already full.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We scrub our recommendations of anything that's red. And yeah, nearby is great, because that's the other thing. If we don't have a recommendation for you and you show up to something and you're like, oh, fuck, this thing is a nightmare. You can just pull this out and say, well, what? And I don't feel like walking several blocks. What's nearby? And it'll let you know a list of things that are all green.
Right, South by Social, you built your own social network tool for messaging each other. Like, tell us a bit about what that does and how, because it works on your website year-round and in the mobile app as well.
Well, again, South by is about community, and it's about connections and about meeting the people that you're going to be, either your friends, your collaborators, your clients, or the new people that you're going to meet, and something magical is going to happen, and you're going to move on with some new exciting project. And so we've had some kind of directory with messaging for as long as I've been there. And we also recommend people to each other based on either people in common or events in common. And so finding people and messaging them and saying, hey, let's meet up, and your events persist year over year. Your contacts persist year over year. So you can be like, oh, I want to see Jeff, who I met last year. Or, hey, I see he's here again. Let's hook up for tacos and tequila. And so it's an incredibly important part of our ecosystem, and it works year round too. So if you are like, man, I really wish I could talk to Jeff right now, that I met at South by, but I lost his business card, if people
Business
even
card.
do that anymore.
Business card, really?
You can go find them, and send them a message on South by Social.
I think business cards went away during COVID. Like, no one wants to hand like a business card to somebody anymore. It
Right.
just
Oh,
doesn't
that's
happen.
true. That's
Yeah.
gross as hell.
Yeah.
I'd have 3 business cards with me if anybody wants them.
But with South by Social, there's also filters. You can enter in tags of what you're interested in. So that also helps with the filtering and connecting
For
with
sure.
people.
You can filter by geography. People come from 35 different countries to South by Southwest. Or you can filter by industry. Also, people can tag themselves. Positive attitude is one of my tags. So you can also find people who have tags in common with you.
Positive attitude is one of your tags?
Hashtag positive attitude, bro.
Yeah. I've known you a long time. I get it. So another one of your technology partners is Airship. We've integrated with Airship since the London 2012 Olympics. They're a great partner. The ability to send not just push notifications, but this is full screen takeovers with the new Airship AXP platform. This was 2023 when you used full screen. This year you went with a partial screen takeover, and we did some work to allow you to trigger that at various places throughout the mobile app as well. So the idea of you open up the mobile app and first time you go to South by Social, it gives you a pop-up to explain that feature, or share your feedback is another obvious one as well. So great partner. Tell us a bit about Airship.
So yeah, you need somebody like this if you're going to do push notifications, and we knew from the beginning that we were going to want to do that. And early on, we experimented with sponsored push notifications, and we decided that didn't work. Also, it's really important for us to be able to communicate to everyone for safety reasons. So there was a lot of reasons we need it, but then it's obviously come a long way. So now being able to do these rich push notifications that make sense over the course of your journey at South by Southwest. We know when you showed up because we printed your badge, and we can give you a, hey, we're glad you're here. And we can just sort of interact over time with our people without hopefully driving them crazy with too many push notifications.
That's true.
You can opt out, I think.
If you send too many, they'll just turn off push notifications, and then you're out of luck. You're never going to be able to send them. So that's important.
I think I got a push notification that Elon Musk was speaking, and the first 300 people there got in, and I bolted. And that was amazing. That's what you want, right?
All right, so there's a thing up here. There's only one question. It's about your T-shirt color, Sureena. But if you have questions for us, we got a few more slides, but I'm just have a think about it.
Yeah.
And
there are 2.
Oh, there are 2 now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there in just a minute. So, but I just want to encourage people to post. I think we have a couple more slides here. South by Express Pass, also quite a unique feature. It's kind of like a fast pass Disneyland type experience. So tell us a bit about why you guys built this out.
So obviously access is the thing at South by Southwest that people are the most interested in. If they're going to go see, I guess we premiered Fall Guy this year. We premiered the Cheech and Chong movie. And those are going to be, super popular, and people are like, am I going to be able to go? And the answer is always, yeah, if you show up early, you're going to get in to see Fall Guy. But what this allows people to do is we set aside 10% of the house for these express passes, and if you get one, you go on the express pass line. And that's the top 10% of people who got this pass, and they go in first. And the way you get it is you go in the app or on the web schedule, and at 9 o'clock the morning before everything happens, you start jamming on that thing. And, Fall Guy, I think, filled up in 6 seconds, 6 or 7 seconds.
It is like a lottery, sort of. It's like
yeah. And so it's exciting. People get upset when they don't get the one they want, but there's always hundreds of other events that do have express passes available, and that's one of the things that we've been trying to communicate to people. And so we have now a filter of show me all the events that have an express pass available now. And then we also really, the hard message is, if you didn't get an express pass, just show up, get in line.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 10% of people that got these things, and who knows who you're going to meet in line.
All right, this is the last topic. We're going to talk about usability testing. And I've always appreciated South by Southwest and Eventbase. We want to know what people are actually doing with the technology. So we've done usability testing right back to 2012, where we sit in a lab and watch people use the app, and we've made a bunch of changes based on that. What was interesting this year, we did 3 days of usability testing on site at South by Southwest, basically testing features that will appear in next year's mobile app. And we also did something this year, it's the first time, where we tested not just the mobile app, but we tested the website and the mobile app together. The experience of planning on the website and then transitioning to using the mobile app on site. So that was really novel, really unique, and I think we learned a ton as well. So I think that investment in truly understanding your attendees helps in all aspects of the event. You then know like what people's motivations are from going there. When you talk about Southwest, there's so many different types of personas. Someone who's just there for film, someone who's just there for music, someone who's there for interactive or everything, or comedy festival or whatever. So there's a lot that goes into that. But yeah, and I think usability testing, I don't know how you feel about it, Justin, but it's been super valuable for us.
You always learn a bunch of stuff that you didn't know, and there's aha moments all the time. You're like, oh, well, that shouldn't, they shouldn't have had that experience. So let's work on that.
All right. So we have one last question. Sureena, do you want to ask?
One last question. We have about 3 questions.
Oh, no, this is a question that's we were going to ask is like, what's next in event technology? So what are you most excited about, Justin? Is there something that's cooking that you can maybe...
What's the next event tech?
Yeah, what's the big thing that you're thinking is going to be?
Tell us all.
Teleportation. But, I mean, we had
Time
Shatner
travel.
this year, and he was awesome. Oh my God, he's like 90-something years old, and he was like pacing. And he was Shatnering. It was amazing. But I try to think about what's next in a really practical way, right? We want to have new features every year. We want to improve the experience, but these new whiz-bang features need to improve the experience. So you can't just have an AI something in there for the sake of having it. There has to be a clear reason why you're doing this thing, and that reason has to be attendee experience. And so, again, these features are always going to be practical. They're not necessarily going to be like the craziest thing, but wayfinding is a thing that we continue to work on. And this year these maps were awesome this year, and they're going to get awesomer. And I think that's huge. And also accessibility is something that we've made a priority in our roadmap, and we've chosen a specification that we're going to align our efforts with. And so, again, it's not necessarily sexy, but it's what you need to do. It's how you need to make your constituents happy and they want to come back.
Well, the maps are going to be super important when they're knocking down the Austin Convention Center, and people are going to know where anything is. It's going to be...
share this information, Justin.
Yeah, they're rebuilding the Austin Convention Center and starting in 2026. And so they say it's going to be a 3-year project. That means a 10-year project. We're going to try and figure out, without that huge meeting space, how do we put on South by Southwest? And it's going to be a challenge, but there's always some challenge. This one just happens to be big. And we've been working on it for a year already, and we'll keep working on it, and we'll deliver a South by Southwest with or without the convention center.
Jeff, what about you? What do you think is the next big event tech?
I don't know. There's going to be some AI stuff for sure. We're exploring some interesting things. I think just the fact that it's cheaper to do now than ever before makes that more interesting.
Like an AI-generated picture of you at South by Southwest meeting Ryan Gosling.
I think this is actually pretty cool. I don't know if any of you are listening to the session in Spanish, but AI translation in real time. So I can't speak Spanish, but apparently I'm talking Spanish right now. That's pretty cool.
I think we're going to wrap it up here, but we have some questions.
Yeah,
there are a couple of questions, and thank you for everyone that submitted those sessions.
Do you want to ask this question,
appreciate
Stephanie?
y'all being here.
I think we have Stephanie asking questions over here.
I can ask them, or if anybody in the audience has any, I'll give you the mic.
Yeah, that'd be great,
So,
Stephanie.
any questions from the audience? All right, here we go.
Hey, really nice job, guys and team. Great stuff. So, Jeff, you did a lot of speaking about what happens pre-event, and Justin spoke about during the event really well. What about post-event? Are you leveraging any of that engagement, really good engagement data that Eventbase is capturing in the mobile app and you're getting from the RFID? Are you leveraging that data for any kind of post-event analysis or using it beyond the event to connect better with attendees?
I think speaking for South by, they do a lot of planning for next year, helping them understand what kind of sessions, what kind of worked, what kind of didn't. They did something interesting this year which we didn't talk about, which was streaming a lot of content, but putting it all on YouTube to make it accessible to anybody. So that's new. Previously it was gated. I think that was a really interesting way to do it, because after the event, you want everybody watching all the cool South by stuff all around the year. It becomes a year-round content. I thought that was really interesting.
Year-round engagement is obviously anybody that puts on an event. It's the gold standard, right? If people are engaged with your event year-round, that's amazing. But man, it's hard/impossible to do. So I think the two big things that we lean on to try and build that are community, so like the directory, your ability to stay connected to people, and also the content, as Jeff pointed out. So, we'll roll out Shatner's talk and on YouTube, and we'll let you know about it. And then you can send it to your friends and was like, I saw this at South by Southwest, it totally ruled. And then, build a little FOMO. And we're doing our best. It's one of the harder problems.
I think that you pretty much covered the two questions, but I'll go ahead and throw them out there anyway. What are some of the innovations you've rolled out over the years with the app? I think you covered that pretty well. And I think part of that is also not taking on too much at one time and prioritizing.
Absolutely. Again, prioritizing on attendee experience. And you don't want to do 4 brand new things, obviously, as you pointed out, every year, because it just won't work. You'll do a half-assed job on all of them. And so, and not to just mention, if all we did was rinse and repeat the app, it would be a lot of work. And rinse and repeat everything else. So,
Is that Nick Offerman said, you shouldn't do 2 things half-assed. You want to do 1 thing whole-assed.
Let's go whole-assed.
Yeah.
All right, and then I think that you did do a lot of speaking about the specific tech features and how they're utilized and function. It seems like you do, just prioritizing the customer experience and trying to make things, how can we make things easier? Where are we falling down? Seems to be top of mind for you as an organization.
Yeah, it's an overwhelming event, and so we're trying to give people some kind of handle on it. And, if any of y'all have been or you come, build your agenda, but if you get fixated on it and you decide that's the only stuff you're going to do, you're not going to have a great time and you're missing what South by is all about. Walk around, be like, oh, what's this? Oh, that's fascinating. And then you go in and you have an amazing experience. Or if it's at night and you're walking by and you hear some music rolling out of a club and you're like, well, I'm going in there. And that's kind of what it's about. Discovery is a huge part. And all these tools are to help you discover.
All right, we are at the end of our time, but can we give a big round of applause to Justin for joining us here?
And Jeff.
Sureena.
Thank you, Sureena.
Thanks, everybody. Stephanie, thanks for hosting us.
Stephanie.
Thanks for sharing so much information. I think that a lot of us want to be there next year.
If you all want the slides, just send me an email. It's just jeff@eventbase.com. Or come and see us.
And then if you guys want to talk to
friendly.
Justin, he'll be over with me with the yellow shirt. So by all means, he'll be here for the whole show.
I'm super friendly. Come up and say hi.
Thanks, everybody.
Next up on the main stage at noon is All-in-Ones, Unmasking the Illusion and Embracing Strategic Partnerships. Thanks again.